if you assume that everyone is that looks good or is strong is using gear or something, you will put yourself in a mindset which is very dangerous to your growth. You need to change your perception on what's natural or not when it comes to lifting. Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Lori, and today I'm going to talk about something that's been on my mind for a long time. So, a few years back in the fitness industry, not being natural was very taboo. People would lose their sponsors if they admitted to taking gear. We have people like Ryan Casey, who got dropped from Gymshark a couple years ago. We have OGs like John Skywalker, who lost all of his sponsors in the beginning when he admitted that he was not natural. The majority of people was also strongly against people using steroids. So if you admitted that you were actually using gear, people would, respect you less and think that you're cheating or what you have built is not earned in any form. So people were strongly against people admitting to using steroids. Because so few people were admitting to using steroids, people had a very weird perception of what was attainable, natural or not. People would see these insane, crazy, ginormous physiques where they have all the signs of steroid usage. They would have like super red skin, the grainy look. They would, have ginormous shoulders or traps. But people wouldn't really think about it, They would think that that was natural. Because they didn't really know what the difference was between actually using steroids and not using steroids. It also used to be very common for people to be so-called fake natties. They would actually take gear or steroids, but they would claim that they were natural. However, then a lot of people started making content, natty or not, or exposing people that were actually using steroids. We have people in the likes of like Filion, Greg Doucette, More Plays More Dates, people like that. They were making videos where they were discussing if they were using steroids or not, and trying to base it off something like how fast they progressed or how long they had been lifting, what's their sleep like, what's their diet like, actual physical signs of not being natural and stuff. And this really opened a lot of people's eyes to what was actually achievable, natural or not. People were, finally realizing that a lot of people were taking, steroids, and that's the reason they have that insane strength, that insane physique, stuff like that. So people were opening their eyes. So a lot of people got exposed for taking gear. We have people like, for example, David Lade, probably being one of the biggest people being targeted by this. And suddenly it started to become a trend to actually admit that you were taking stuff. Now you wouldn't get the people against you when you admitted you took steroids and gear. You actually got a lot of respect for opening up about it, and it was something which was a very good move, business-wise, views-wise, likes, and people simply respected people that admitted that they were actually taking something. Some examples are Yostetics, James English, and Sush. They admitted to using stuff and they got a lot of respect for it. So the people who were fake natties in this time period actually started to drift away from this whole fake natty approach, because they were getting, more people would see through the lies and they would get more hate for it. So people actually commonly picked a new approach where they instead, they didn't really talk about their natural status. So instead of just openly lying, they were avoiding the question, and therefore they weren't lying. Personally, I think that Oliver Forslin is in this category. He has said himself on podcasts that he never claimed to be natural when he wasn't, but in my opinion, I think he did. But that's cool. I don't have anything against him personally. I think he's a cool guy, but I think probably a fake natty at one time. So a lot of people started picking up on this trend where you were getting respect and people wasn't going against you for admitting to not taking gear. So they picked up on this trend, and ages later they started admitting, yeah guys, I'm on testosterone and I really want to be honest to you guys, it feels good. Yeah, so now you want to be honest. Now when there is nothing to lose, in fact there is something to gain. You gain respect. Now you want to be honest and be courageous. This was also quite a common thing happening. Nowadays, the majority of the fitness industry won't hate on you if you're being honest about your drug use. But today, I noticed a new phenomenon. It's almost the opposite of what was happening years ago. Today, no one believes anyone is natural. People have a really weak perception of what you can achieve naturally, strength and physique. Hell, I've even seen people debate if you can get a 405 squat naturally. That's how low we are at right now. Nowadays, if you have a good physique, people will instantaneously accuse you or assume that you're using something, instead of looking for the telltale signs that you actually are using something. People used to look at someone's physique and check at their traps or their shoulders. They look a bit, you know, sus. They look a lot bigger than they used to be a couple of months ago. Wow, he really has that grain shredded look. Wow, he's really gaining strength really, really fast here. But now I feel like a lot of people are just accused because they look good. I feel like people today do not genuinely believe that they can have a good physique naturally. Or if they do, they have like a kind of short, weak perception of it. They think that you can look decent, but I promise you guys, you can look really good naturally. Not just decent, you can look insane naturally. And obviously this is going to vary based on your genetics. That's the unfortunate truth. Some people are going to look like mass monsters naturally, and some people are going to look average after years of hard work. Let me give you this example. Now, I know that free testosterone levels is what actually matters in the end. But for the sake of, you know, making this comparison, let's say this. One person naturally has 450 nanograms per deciliter testosterone levels. The other guy has 700 nanograms per deciliter testosterone levels naturally. Now, if the guy that has 450 nanograms per deciliter were to take testosterone of 250 nanograms per deciliter, he would get to the same level as the guy naturally. He would have to take, you know, testosterone to get to the same level as someone else. This is why genetics really, really matter and differ greatly, and why it truly is hard to judge if someone is natural or not. You know, I could bust my ass off and still not even have half of the testosterone levels as someone else. If I have half the testosterone levels of someone else, my ability to build muscle, gain strength, and have very masculine features are going to be extremely limited compared to his. Also, we are living in a super reduced time in history to achieve like a great physique for a man. Our testosterone levels are plummeting. Our lifestyle, you know, is horrible for testosterone levels. Just imagine what someone could have a few decades ago, just living like you do now, without the technology, without all the plastic, without all the, you know, toxins in the environment, stuff like that, with better diet. You know, you get it, you get the point. And I kind of blame this whole, you know, reverse phenomenon where everyone believes that no one is natural on the influencers that popularized the Natty or Nots and stuff. Natty or Not videos are extremely great for your business. They get incredible views. People love them, people ask for them. The first videos of this trend were genuine. People wanted to spread awareness, what is possible, Natty or Not. For example, all the people in Hollywood lying about, you know, yeah, I just ate chicken, broccoli and rice, I trained 14 times a week, you know. The purpose was to spread awareness and say that, hey, these celebrities are bullshitting, these actors are full of shit, they are taking steroids, but they won't admit it. In the beginning, the intentions were good. But I believe that as time went on and people saw how really beneficial this was to their growth of their channels and stuff, people started to not have a as genuine approach to, you know, Natty or Not and stuff like that. People were a bit more sloppy, you know, wanted to throw out the video, not put in as much effort, not as much journalism or actual investigation behind if someone is Natty or Not, and the video would do as good. And therefore, the so-called results would not be as accurate. And people started scraping to really just find people that were, you know, not natural. And I think this has programmed people to have a much worse expectation in one sense, what you can achieve naturally. Before, people had a too high expectation, but now I think people have, you know, one that is too low. Now, for example, what I mean with that people do, you know, less sloppy, you know, investigation stuff, I'm going to use Fillion as an example from his Is David Late Natural or Not, or whatever it's called. Now, I do think that this video is a net positive because I am almost 100% certain that David Lay was using steroids at one point of the time, and under that era, 100% whatever, I don't really care. But I'm just going to use what I mean as an example here. So in that video, Fillion says something along the lines that if I would have tried to bench 315 at the time when I was 17, my bones would break or something like that. And I understand that it's, you know, a bit humoristic, you know, it's comedy or whatever, but you can't compare yourself to others. Like I said, like, people differ so much genetically. Like, some people are just mass monsters at 17, they're extremely big and stuff like that, like a personal comparison is not effective at detecting if someone is natural or not. He also says this in this video, and this is something that would proceed to become quite popular as something you would use as an argument or whatever, and he used himself in multiple videos, which is you can't have all three: be big, shredded, and natural. Now, I understand the point that he's trying to make here. If you're big, shredded, and natural, it should send out some warning signs. But I still think that it's a bit, you know, what is big? What is shredded? What is natural? You can absolutely, in my opinion, be big, shredded, and natural. I am 100% convinced you can be. But this is the problem. Like, what is big? What is shredded? Like, to someone who doesn't work out, I'm big. But in my opinion, I'm not that big. You know, I understand what I mean? Like, it's subjective. This is a subjective reasoning. This will differ a lot of, you know... I mean, can you be Ronnie Coleman? Be shredded and be big? No. No, you can't. Hell, you can't even get close to being Ronnie Coleman, big, shredded, and natural. But you can still be big, in my opinion. Big, natural, shredded. 100%. Now, for the final part of this video, I just want to get this point across. That if you assume that everyone is that looks good or is strong is using gear or something, you will put yourself in a mindset which is very dangerous to your growth. If you assume that I can't be strong or I can't look insane without using gear, that is what you will tell your mind. That is the reality that you will create. So you won't be able to hit those levels that other people can do naturally, because you have a preconceived idea that you won't. The most craziest inventors, greatest artists, athletes of all time, they were so crazy that they believed in themselves and their capabilities that no one else could have, and that is the reason why they actually achieved these incredible results, because they believed in them. For example, in an interview, he says that if he wants to be an NBA player, he could. Now, do I personally believe that he could be the best NBA player if he tried? No, I probably don't think so. But the point is, you need to believe in it for it to be a possibility. You need to. At the time where the Wright brothers invented the plane, you would be insane to even think that you could make a machine that could fly and you could transport yourself and items in the air. That was an insane thought. But the Wright brothers were insane enough to believe in it, and it became a reality. The same thing works with what you can achieve naturally. If you don't believe you can become really big, really shredded, really strong natural, you won't. Now I understand that it's important to have a balance. You can't think that you will become Mr. Olympia naturally, because that is not going to happen. But you should be careful on how much you limit what you think is possible or not. That is all for my little rant. We can discuss in the comments if you agree or you do not agree. Other than that, have a great day. Subscribe to me. Follow the Instagram, like this video. If you watched this far, you probably enjoyed it. And only 77% of you watching is subscribed, so subscribe please. See you in the next one. Bye bye.